It's episode 2 of Off the Top Ropes Double Double Sunday Night Sensation, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, presented by SixPackCoverage.com. And we're at it again here on Off the Top Rope. Joining me, I call her Superstar. She is Superstar Zoe Sager. She is joining me live for episode number 2 of Double Double Sunday Night Sensation on Off the Top Rope live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get it.
The Ropes Media. Tyrone Asbury. Tyrone Asbury. Every chance you get to hear us, you clear us. It's the time on the radio. My opinion's my opinion. Every time you hear me now moving out, they're on the stereos. Every podcast live, you know the feeling. This is the time for me to speak. You know the healing. I'm telling the truth and everything I say.
This is your boy, Ty Asbury, and we are back again live with episode number 2 for this Double Double Sunday Night Sensation. As I always say, it's Sunday night here on the Top Rope, and you know what's going down. And I'm going to call this lady probably one of Canada's best wrestlers today. If she thinks otherwise, I'm just going to say it. So, from, of course, real Canadian wrestling, Zoe Sager is here. Give her a bow now. Zoe, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for wanting to come on the show. I know, you said you've been working, wrestling, beating people up, but you took the time to be on the show tonight. I want to thank you very, very much. So how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I had a nice day off, so it was much needed. I'd had a good day, yeah.
Now, a lot of things I want to talk about on the show. I mean, I've been doing my research, and you said you had a wild and crazy 2021, which I want to talk about that in the show. Now we're moving things ahead for 2022, which is insane to say already. But most importantly, what do you want your fans to get from this episode, you being here tonight? Like, what do you want them to get from this sensational episode of Off the Top Rope, you being the guest?
Maybe learn some things that they didn't know beforehand and have a look into all the plans that I have coming forward. Are a little big, maybe possibly crazy, but be sweet. Learn some things.
Now, what do you think as far as crazy? Do you think crazy can be a good thing in wrestling? Like, I mean, coming from, Zoe Sager's mind, crazy, is that a good thing in wrestling?
Yeah, I think, like, if anyone who wants to be a wrestler, who wants to take the bumps that we do on a regular basis, like, gotta be crazy to, like, want to do it and want to do it consistently after having, like, a rough night or whatever, taking a weird bump. You gotta be a little bit loopy to want to do this.
Now speaking of having like rough night, which you have lots of those, beating people up in wrestling, doing what you love to do, and that's wrestle. What do you do from time to time when you pull back? You like to relax? Do you like to have a glass of wine, music, kicking the movie, or is wrestling constantly like going on?
I try to like have wrestling at least at like in like a corner of the back, like just in the back of my head. But usually I like to just like sit on the couch, usually scroll through TikTok and usually have Netflix on in the background while I'm watching TikTok. Usually just like chill. Okay. Also like going out and hanging with my friends, and usually we'll just like throw on like matches or something on in the background and we'll just chat, and it's nice. Like, I like doing nothing.
They talk about like sitting back watching TV. Has there been any? I'm gonna say this: if you look at maybe shows or favorite movies you have, if you could think of a show or movie, what is there a certain character in a TV show or movie that resembles you in the ring? Like who you say would like? You can think of anything on top of your head, like man, this character kind of reminds me of myself in the ring.
Yeah, I try to like, when I watch certain shows, I try to like put myself into like certain characters, I guess. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone. I want to say Buffy because she's like one of my favorite
Yeah.
characters ever, but like I honestly don't know. I can't just off the top of my head, I can't think of an exact person. Um, but we'll go with Buffy. She's awesome.
We'll go Buffy. Buffy. That's definitely a fine thing to discuss. Now, before we came on the show, I got to compliment your parents on Zoe because two dots on there. If they're around, the next time you talk to them, tell them I said I love it. It just I don't know if you had that on posters. Do you get compliments about that? Like or if that's like something not really, but it would catch my eye if I saw it on a poster for wrestling.
Um, People will like bring it up, being like, "Oh, that's like a different way of spelling it," but not usually anything more than that. Yeah, it's a good name. I like it.
Now, if you had to look back, because I want to talk about your badass like 2021. What what did you learn from yourself last year? I mean, it could be as a person or mostly as a wrestler. What did you really say like, oh, like that really I really learned this about myself in 2021? Because you said I saw that you said on Twitter you had a wild 2021, and that's why we're
Yeah.
here. So what really made you stand out about yourself in wrestling and that you're really proud of from last year?
Um, I think a lot of it is like learning to let certain things go. Like, um, I did like with the pandemic, I was off for like a year and a half, and I was only training for that time. And it was really hard without like having that fan interaction that you usually have as a wrestler. And I had it for the year and a half up until that point that I had been wrestling. And so it was like hard being like, oh, like learning new things and not being able to like show the people, or like struggling with something and not being able to like show the progress to anybody. Um, and then like getting to shows, being then getting in front of fans, and like if something goes wrong and the fans can tell, they'll like latch onto it and they'll do it, and just like breathing, like at this moment they don't matter, don't like get out of your head sort of thing. And I think like not 100% good at it yet, but reminding myself, being like, no, you're just overthinking things, like those things don't matter in the long run sort of things.
Yeah, it sounds like the fans really make you they really make you forget about this and that. The fans really bring you into the moment of action, I guess you can say, and
Yeah.
they really bring the best out of you. Now, speaking of fans, have you, as of late, have you ever, if you could share with everybody watching the show, have you ever had any really cool fan stories that a fan has done something for you that really stands out? Because that's what keeps your machine going. Any really cool fan experiences?
um there's been like a couple of like little girls who are like, oh, I want to like be a wrestler, and like I look to you, and like they're like 4, 5, 6, 7, they're like so young, and like seeing their eyes like light up when they're talking about it, and that's so cool. Like, can't it's very difficult to describe that feeling when you see these little girls who want to do it. So kind of think that's probably like the biggest thing for me, at least so far, that I can think of.
Now, you put the word in the center about your 2021 being wild. What was so wild about it? Because I'm dying to know, like, what was so wild about it, which is a good thing. I took that like, man, she must have really kicked ass, wrestling.
um I think i I learned a lot, and um so I didn't with the pandemic, I didn't start wrestling again until June of 2021. And so it was only about 6 or whatever, how many months in 2021 that I was wrestling. But I learned so much in that short amount of time. I was wrestling every week, 2 or 3 shows a weekend, and just trying new things, learning new things, and working with so many awesome girls. There's so many awesome talents in Alberta that I got a chance to work with that I hadn't gotten a chance to work with, and being able to see like the progression from the first matches that we had starting in June to like to the end of the year, and it was seeing that like progression like live was something that I didn't see before because I was only wrestling like once or twice a month sort of thing, and like you can see the progression but it wasn't necessarily like as quick. And so that was the wildest thing, seeing like the progression in myself and all of the people around me, and seeing all of the like wildness that we were able to do together and all the magic we were able to make, and it was so much fun.
That's the really cool thing. It seems like from what I've gathered by you being on the show, it really helped your confidence. Like, and
Yeah.
yeah, you said you've learned a lot. What's one thing that that one like key thing that you learned from somebody that you really have taken? I'm sure you learned like hundreds of things from your talent, but what's one thing that maybe somebody showed you or told you that you really have taken up to this point where you are now?
There's so many, it's hard to pick.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's no like specific things. Like my current like main trainers now, Michael Richard Blaze and Heavy Metal, they say things so often that I'll like be like, one thing that like Heavy Metal always says is like confidence is free. Like it's free. Like take it, use it, and let everybody see it, sort of things. And yeah, just that's probably the biggest one.
Now, as we roll forward to 2022, what would you want to learn more in 2022 outside of? I mean, you don't have to tell us on the show, but maybe a sneak peek. Or is there any like new things you want to add to your persona and new moves? So what's kind of like got you like, I may want to try that moving ahead for the new year?
Honestly, just recently I switched my gear up from wearing like pants. Now I wear trunks and kick pads, and that was something that I was like very nervous about because my very first set of gear was shorts, and I didn't like it. I wasn't confident enough to like rock it or anything by any means. And so I switched to pants, and then I'm like, you know what? I didn't give it like a fair chance. So I switched back, and that has added like a level of confidence that I didn't think that just gear would do, which is like weird to say that just switching up a look adds confidence, but because my in-ring stuff didn't change like a whole lot. I added like a couple of things, but I was always doing that before, and I probably would have had a notch switch that up. And in 2022 already, I'm getting more opportunities to work with girls that I haven't been able to work with yet. Like I have a booking at the end of the month in BC, and like there's like a couple of other things that are like in the woodwork sort of things that I'm not gonna mention just yet, just because they haven't been announced yet. But so getting to work with those girls, I just want to work everybody. So being able to work with more people, different people in different places, pretty much.
That's a really cool and interesting fact that I've actually learned from you, how the wrestling attire can help the confidence for a performer, which you just said here on the show. And I never thought of that. And that's a really cool thing that I learned tonight. How you said you switch into this to that. You're like, I'm not so confident about this, but I'll try this, and that's I just learned something tonight. That's a really cool thing. Like that. That's really, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting it. I was expecting honestly to be like a little more self-conscious, but not. I honestly like I put it on like the first show I was back for wearing it, and I like put it on. I'm like, oh, this is like better than my old gear, and I felt like crazy good in my old gear too. But this set, like I put it on, I'm like, no, this is me. This is why didn't I do this before? Why didn't I just stick with this the entire like 3.5 years now? Why didn't I always just have this set? Put it on. It was great. Running from there.
Well, speaking of great, everybody watching the show live tonight is Off the Top Rope, episode 2 of the Double Double Sunday Night Sensation with, like I said it before, I'm going to say it again, Canada's hottest wrestling talent right now, Zoe Sager, is with me tonight on the show, rocking it. We're just having a blast here on the show. And as always, here on the ropes, if you want to comment, ask her a question, who's she going to be beating up next, definitely put it up the comment up in the comment section here on Off the Top Rope. Now, this we're on the whole thing about last year. Who, if you had to pick maybe two, I know you said the pandemic hurt a lot of things.
Yeah.
If you had to pick out two really good matches that you had, and you still think about it like, man, I got to get back in the ring with them, because I'm sure that can happen where you just have like maybe 2 or 3 people that bring the best out of you. If you can let everybody know what matches really stuck out to you from last year.
Yeah, so the one that like pops into my head first was a match that I had with Ava Lawless, and at the end of October. It may have been Halloween, it may have been the day before Halloween, I don't know. But we had like another show like before this show. We were doing the one match at the one show, doing our match, and then driving straight to the other show, doing our match. And so we didn't have a whole lot of time to like put anything like too crazy wild together. And so we're like, you know what, we're gonna do this match, and we're going to do the best we can with what we know we can do perfect. And we put it together like super quick, and we went out and we knocked it out of the park. The crowd was into it. We were like just firing on like a level that we hadn't been on up until that point. Like we had awesome matches together before then, but that match was really a match that we're like just firing, and everything was clicking, and everything that we wanted to hit, and every reaction that we thought was going to happen happened. And it was such a good match, and we didn't overthink anything, because we didn't have time to overthink, because we were like driving and like stressing about like traffic because it was snowing that day, and like just freaking out. So that match was probably number one. And then there's 2 other matches off the top of my head. One match that I had with Michael Richard Blaze, who's also one of my trainers. And that match it went off very, very well, and the crowd was reacting, and I tried new things that I hadn't tried before, and it's just really fun being in there with him. And then also the match that I had with Stephen Crow, where he beat me for my title, but that's besides the point.
That's all right. That's all right.
But we just like,
you'll get it back. You'll get it back.
Yeah, we had like tag matches together and whatnot, but we had never had a singles match. And we were able to do just like a bunch of cool different sequences and stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to have another match again. But probably those 3 off the top of my head are probably my favorites.
I can definitely tell you, like, I want my damn title back. So you'll get it back. I have confidence and faith you'll definitely get your title back. And I was really blown away by what you said. You said that you had to wrestle this match, hurry up and go to the other venue for the next match, and you really didn't plan nothing. It was kind of like, I guess on terms, on the fly. And you said the match was killer. And I'm sure you probably learned that yourself. Like, man, I could just not put my mind to it. I could just, if I got to do it on the fly, I got to do it on the fly, because I know how it is for wrestlers. It's like boom, boom, boom. You know, you got to go to the to the next town, and you should definitely be applauding yourself for doing that.
Yeah, it wasn't like super on the fly. We just like pulled spots that we had done in other matches that got reactions, and just like put them all together, so that way we didn't have to think about it. But like, because we didn't have time, we didn't think about it, so it was pretty well like we were just doing it on the fly. Then I also had a match recently again with Michael, where we did end up going the majority of the match on the fly. We had opened like we planned like the opening spot and the opening spot was like the least crisp. Like what we planned was the least crisp, and but just going with the flow of like everything ended up like working out, and being a lot like smoother. So that, yeah, we're being on the fly is very difficult, but it's also a lot of fun.
That's like it's the fact that you also have the trainer who's helped you get to this point,
Yeah,
help you out, and it just seems like a really like you're in a good spot. I mean, now I'm sure you got more titles you're going to win coming your way. You'll get your old one back, but on top of the big scale, I really want to know like pretty much like right now. Of course, you being number one in this area, how booming is the whole Canada wrestling scene? I know the pandemic has hurt a lot, but how is the Canada wrestling scene going, and what do you see about it going forward from here?
yeah. I think it's doing very well, especially considering the pandemic. The restrictions in Canada have been very like long and like still going on, which I think is for the best because it is for everybody's safety. Um, but like it took us a very long time to be able to like start lifting restrictions, and now like aside from like masks and stuff, like we're pretty well open. Um, but like considering where we were, because we were like just shut down, not allowed any shows for pretty well a year and a half. Um, and but now there's like a new promotion in BC that's running and bringing in all these people and like getting a bunch of internet buzz.
Okay.
Um, like they're bringing in Effie at the end of the month, and Maxi Impaler and Sumi Sakai, and like they're bringing in all these people. And so like the Pacific Northwest right now is like really, really exploding and being like really, really awesome. And then in Alberta, we RCW is running weekly in both Edmonton and Calgary, and so there's always wrestling going on. Um, and there's also another promotion that just started, and they'll be running again soon. Love Pro Wrestling, who's also bringing in a lot of names and starting to like push to the internet. And out in Ontario, like there's Super Kicked and all these like other promotions that are like promoting outside and like bigger shows and stuff that's starting to like go everywhere. And then out in the Maritimes there's stuff that's going on too. And there's so many good wrestlers and so many opportunities to get better and to get their names out there. And everyone, wrestlers, promoters, and everything, are really like trying to like push Alberta and push Canada, not just Alberta. I'm just in Alberta. Push Canada wrestling, to get more eyes on us, because it is a little bit of a black hole. Like there's so many of us, but like so few actually end up being seen by like the outside, by the States, by England, by everywhere, which sucks because there's so many good people.
Well, including yourself. I mean, the great, talent and the great wrestling, area. Well, no big juggernaut that we call Canada, of course. Now,
Yes.
I could tell, like you were saying, all these new promotions coming about in Canada. I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, I'm gonna go here for this title, here for that title.
Of course.
It's like a buffet. You got
Yes.
all the choices you want, for all these new promotions up and coming, which I'm sure you being on the card would help them. So it's like, I think it seems like wrestling today. I said this earlier before that I've said this hundreds of times, but like wrestling really has you can network more in wrestling.
Yes.
It seems like it's more, I guess the word, I guess convenient, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and it's nice now because like I'm also seeing like a lot of more of the like interpromotional, um I guess like helping each other.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing a lot more of the people who like have a little bit more of the like networking, and then networking with them helps like branch into their network. And so, and everyone's so willing to help out. Like if you ask anybody a question, they'll be like, yeah, of course, like here you go, at least in my experience. Um, and everyone has been like very, very welcoming, and like yeah, it's getting networking is getting like easier and easier as the promotions start working together, and it's very cool to see firsthand.
I mean, also for you, you've got like the edge of your hand, tip of your fingers to be able to
Yeah,
network, go to different promotions. Like you said, now wrestling promotions are helping each other out. It's pretty much
yeah,
going back to how it was in the day, like territories helping each other out. And even on the big scale, AEW, they work with different people as
yeah,
well. So you got I guess you got the whole buffets there for you.
yeah.
So, yeah, and that's a really really cool thing. Now we talked a
Yeah.
lot about RCW, and I got to bring up the good old graphic here. So when you think of RCW, what are probably maybe one or two positive things about RCW that aspiring wrestlers should know about that can help them, in Canada or worldwide to go to this promotion?
Um, I think right now, like their consistency, they have shows literally every weekend. Since June, I haven't had a weekend off except for like when I was out injured, and even then I was still at the shows. Um, and so their consistency, like they're always putting out like a fairly decent product. Um, and like it's a product that like it's worth watching. Um, and a lot of the times like the storylines going through it are like very, very cool. And it's very good. It's very consistent. It's been running for, I don't know when it started. I think like 2002, 2003. And so it's been running for that long. And it's lasted through the pandemic, and it's been the only promotion that's pretty well the only promotion that's been running consistently throughout the pandemic. As soon as restrictions allowed like 50 people, they started running again. And now that the capacity is what it is, which I can't think of off the top of my head, they're still running. We just brought in PCO this weekend, and we had packed houses, and it was, um, and we don't even, and the week before, we didn't even have a name, and we had packed houses, and all of the matches were killer, and the atmosphere is so wild to be in front of. So I think that, yeah.
Nothing beats like it's a good old good wrestling. But when all the matches on the card, like what RCW is doing, like it's definitely like a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And you've been busy. You've done some RCW, but pretty much it was yesterday. Pretty much you had everybody wants to know about. I mean, I'm sure you're tired, but you do what you do. You went in there and did your thing. You had a fatal four-way match
Yes.
this past weekend. So how'd that go down? And from that fatal four-way, what are you looking forward to going forward with maybe somebody that was in the match? Rivalries. How'd that match come about that you just did?
Um, so in that match, Ava Wallace, it's she hadn't been in Edmonton in the last little bit, and she's the champion. And Taryn from accounting, she's rarely ever in, like she's occasionally in Calgary, but isn't consistently in Calgary, and so like has issues with Ava because she doesn't often get to see that, and Ava hasn't been up in Edmonton in the last 2 weeks, and she's the champion, and so like there's that, and then Kat Von Hughes, she hasn't been at RCW since Boxing Day, and so it was her first show back in over a month, and then I only just came back like 2 weeks ago, and so we're all just trying to like get at that title that Ava has, and trying to like just get that well, and yeah, it's just fun. And Taryn and I beat the crap out of each other consistently, so like there's no issues there, or many issues depending
I was
on how
about to
you look
say
at it.
I
But
saw I saw in the print that fatal four. I'm sure everybody got beat down, and but I'm pretty sure that made you stronger and hungrier to get your belt back.
yes,
And anybody else wants to step to Zoe, say you're, but like I'm sure you say, by all means, you get your butt kicked. But I'm sure this probably has motivated you going forward after the Fatal
Yes.
4-way
Of
matchup.
course.
And ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Absolutely.
Now, this part of the show, I gotta put you on the spot. I do it all my guests. It's a segment I
No.
call "Damn Ty, That Is Good." You ready to hear the question?
Absolutely.
So I call this a Canada connection. And if you had to pick, it could be past or present or even future, who'd you pick out of Canada to be your tag team partner? And what would the tag team be called?
Oh no. This is so hard. Ah. Oh no. This is very, very difficult. Um uh, oh my goodness. Um let's go with Trish. Trish is always a good one to pick. Oh, what would we call ourselves? Oh no. Ooh. See, that's so hard. Let's go with like rock and roll girls because their music. I don't know. I'm so bad at naming things. All the names that have been like given me are not from my own brain.
I'll take that because this segment does. You're not the only one where it's like, damn, Ty. That's why I call it that segment. But hey, I mean, you picked the right person to tag with, and I would pay to see you two kick ass in the ring. So,
Would love to do it.
yeah, that'd be something I would definitely pay to see, and definitely, I guess I would see tag champions if that connection came together as well.
Gotta have it.
Now, we're ending this awesome episode of Off the Top Rope. And of course, I'm sure you have a lot coming up on your schedule. So all the fans want to know, including my, your fan over here, myself. What's up next for So Sager?
So this next upcoming weekend, I can't remember the dates or what it is. Friday night, I'll be in Calgary for Real Canadian Wrestling. And then the following night, I will be in Edmonton, also for Real Canadian Wrestling. The next week, I will be in Calgary for Real Canadian Wrestling. And then the following week, I will be in Vancouver, BC for Nation Extreme Wrestling. And then the Saturday after that, I will be in Edmonton again for Real Canadian Wrestling. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a busy schedule.
That's the rest of the month.
Rest of the month. That's a busy schedule, but I know you can do it because you are the champion, and like I said, you are Canada's next big thing. And most importantly, I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. Most importantly, and welcome back to. You said you was injured. Welcome back.
Yeah.
And stay safe and just continue doing what you're doing and jump in that buffet of all the wrestling in front of you around not only Canada but worldwide. And the biggest question of all, Zoe, I want to ask you from 1 to 10, would you ever come back on the show again?
10. 10 out of 10. Would do this again.
I gotta get a 10.
Would recommend.
Ladies and gentlemen, this show was as real get. My live guest tonight was, of course, Real Canadian Wrestling sensation, sensation all over the world, getting her name out there. Zoe Sager was my guest here on Off the Top Rope. I'm your boy Ty Asbury. Have a great night. God bless. And hey, it is what it is. God bless. Have a great one.
The Ropes Media. Tyron Asbury. Yeah. Tyron Asbury. Yeah. Every chance you